So, this is Jen. You may remember we had a conversation previously about a year or so ago where we talked a lot about how he has grown to now 4.5 million monthly listeners at his peak after one of his big releases. And a lot of this is using meta ads and playlists. So the last conversation we had, you guys were really, really intrigued by, and so we decided to have a different one, and we covered lots of new stuff here. Some of the things we get into is his music event series and how he promoted it, using YouTube to promote live gigs, using ManyChat to sell more tickets and make it way easy, other automation tools so you get more of your time back to work on your music, and we get into even more playlist growth and SEO strategies for playlists. So Nico, I am so excited to have you back. It seems like people really enjoyed our chat last time. So when you reached out and talked about doing this again, I was like, very cool. I know you and I have done many similar techniques over our work. And it seems like things have been growing for us both. I wanted to see what's been changing since we last spoke.
Yeah. First of all, thanks again for having me on. It's a real pleasure. Yeah, a lot has changed. It's been now a year since we talked, right? And so from like my side on the marketing side with Independent, like I've really like had my focus on that the last year, like fully. And through that discovered a lot of new marketing techniques and little things through a community that we've discovered. And yeah, have now kind of developed into a software that basically does what we did as an agency automatically. But yeah, we can talk about more of this later. Besides that, I kind of took my artist project more into the real world, because last time we talked about mainly game ads and promotion on Instagram and digitally. And yeah, for context, I moved to Barcelona a year and a half ago. Before that, I was in Vienna and I was doing live gigs, but I was just DJing as the resident DJ, not under like my artist name and kind of same thing. And so being here in Barcelona, me and my roommate, we decided that if we want to go into like live gigs and stuff, we want to do it playing our music, like created with our setting and stuff. So we started our own event series, started on like a rooftop here in Barcelona in October. And since then we had the very ambitious goal to do an event every month in a different city and kind of translate like small, it's not a big like a gig or something. It's not like I'm playing a festival. Like we really are going for small, intimate parties, so like 100 and 300 people. And yeah, by partnering up with different teams in different countries, so to like organize the production and the venue and stuff like that, we've kind of did these events and yeah, it's gone really well. It's called Mosaic, like the art, and yeah, so with that we've been able to grow like a YouTube channel a little bit with live sets, have our gigs, and just alone, even though it's not big numbers, you can check now, we have, I mean, not a lot, 500 subscribers. The videos have like between 5,000 and 10,000, 20,000 views, but that has like already shot up how many people have reached out for actual bookings. And crazy enough, I'm going to Costa Rica next week.
Ooh,
and they booked
love
us
that for you.
party. Like they didn't just book me for my artist, but like for the event, which is me, my roommate, and another artist. Like we kind of came together to make this collective. There's this festival that wanted us to take over a night, and so that's that. But I can talk more about how like that all
Yeah,
came.
no, I would be curious, like, yeah, like, you know, you're not talking about like a ton of views, but I think like one of the most interesting things that people like see is like they'll be looking at like James Hype and they'll be like, oh, he has so many views, but it's like even when you're getting a decent amount, when people see it, like people have to fill nights all over the world and they'll see things, and even when the numbers aren't insane, like, you know, one of these people, it's like you get really cool opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. And it always like starting something is always like a slow thing. The same with music, same with an artist project. You know, I think it takes a while. It takes a few months. It takes like a bit of consistency and stuff to like see the results. Like I've seen it on YouTube because I'm never like into YouTube, and with that event series where we're starting, I was with Independent, and you can really tell. Like same with my experience with Spotify. Like you really need to continue putting out a few videos. Like you can't judge like the results after your second or third like release, I think. It's like same with us. We had one live set, for example, like get much bigger all of a sudden. Like that was our the seventh release, and it really only like got bigger like after weeks. Pretty much like that has taken most of my attention. It's been Independent marketing agency in this event. But yeah, in terms of promoting it, like some things have changed as well.
Yeah, I'd be curious what you guys are doing to push it.
Yeah, still still meta ads. This is our main thing. Same with the events. Just there, we're not going for like conversions of people to click on it, but we're actually just going for DMs. So we will have like the flyer with the song of ours and be like, okay, DM for an invite. And through that, we're collecting Instagram accounts, emails.
So are you doing that through ManyChat?
Yeah, partially ManyChat, or at the first times we just did it manually. And yeah, sending people the either the invite only link or the link to buy the tickets. Yeah, it's surprisingly worked pretty well.
ManyChat's been a miracle for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And so like that's been like a really cool thing. And obviously like getting on the live set now, getting another artist to join the event as something to get his audience to come has also been really cool. Again, I'm saying this like not because it's been such a life-changing thing, but I think that's, for me at least, it was like the next step, like from like having my music and the streaming thing to like create an event and create something that's more in the real world and can kind of live beyond just my Instagram account, Spotify account.
Gotcha. So I'd be curious though. So when you're doing that stuff, like what a lot of people like worry about is like they put up these event flyers, and their usual problem is the same people see the event flyer. So the main growth mechanism is really getting those meta ads. Do anything? What's the sauce there?
Yeah, pretty much. I just go for the genre of like our music. I have the names of the artists there. I have a song, and really try and have the flyer either look really good and also have a few different creatives. Same with promoting the music. It's really all about testing different stuff. One flyer that you might think looks really good might perform a lot worse than a video of your past gig or something like that. So we really tested a bunch of things for every single event. For context, it is also like something that hasn't been the cheapest. I mean, getting a venue and stuff, like depends on the terms and stuff. For us, our goal was to get like between 2,000 and 4,000 euro in costs for the event, and at the beginning just try and recoup that. I mean, the first ones were a loss. We did a few things wrong. So one time our card scanner didn't work, and so we had to do open bar.
I literally was at a show this weekend where I went to go do the thing. They're like, your card's not working. I'm like, and then like I'm looking at the error where the guy shows it as like card account not connected, and I'm like, oh boy,
It's not me, it's you. Yeah, and so we're like, that was in Brazil, and everything was last minute, and we're all like, yeah. Making events is really tough. I have to say, like I've learned a lot of stuff and learned a lot of lessons because there's so many variables that can go wrong.
Checklists are the key there.
Totally, absolutely. But yeah, I think for anybody like who like has built like a catalog of music and has a few fans and feels like I think even what I did here is like 50 people on a balcony, and I don't even know 50 people here in Barcelona, but I just asked like the 5 to 10 friends that I have, hey, maybe you can bring 2 or 3 friends, and then that kind of grows. And when you can showcase your music in a place that you curate and you can film yourself, that gives you like great content. Because I think like on social media and stuff, what people really gravitate to is like the reaction of people and the emotion of people. And the more you can capture, not just it makes a difference if, for example, as a DJ, I have a live set of me alone playing and dancing to it, or I have 2 or 3 friends in the background dancing to it. And if I have 2 or 3 different angles and you see like that there's like an actual vibe, and the more it looks real and less staged and looks like people are actually just having a good time enjoying that music, I think like that's really valuable footage for artists. So it's a big reason why we're doing the events. Like we're always making sure we have different camera angles, different things, so we can actually use them as the long form live sets, but also on reels stuff to show us as an artist project. And yeah, it's really been cool because I didn't have to wait to get a booking at a really cool club where the lighting and the crowd and everything fits. Just from knowing my friends and stuff, the crowd of 50 people that we had here on the rooftop, they all really enjoyed that music, really like danced to it automatically. And yeah, I think that's something that can be really useful for us. But that's more like a thing that's now I've been thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we've seen like groups like Jersey and Pluko, like a lot of things before they're able to pack clubs, they're just doing really cool gig house shows with like good lights, a bunch of camera angles, because like, I heard this really great thing from Ryan Broderick from the newsletter Garbage Day, who's I think one of the smartest people who writes about culture
period. And has this interesting theory that Gen Z and Gen Alpha have come into the internet conversation late. So what they do is they look for crowds, for endorsements of cool, and then with a lot of the culture of these generations, whereas my generation was all about like, I know about this thing that's really small, no one knows about, so I feel cool from it. Gen Z and Gen Alpha see a crowd and they go, okay, I need to be a part of that crowd. And so that psychology you're using works really well.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be a huge crowd. I think like people aren't necessarily gravitated to, oh, there's 10,000 people there, like necessarily. There's just seeing that there's a crowd of people that are enjoying and stuff like that makes you gravitate towards it. Like, and for footage or something, like getting a few friends is all you need. You don't have to, well, like I was saying with 2,000, 4,000 for Berlin, the thing on the balcony didn't cost us anything pretty much, except $200 to rent speakers. That was it. But otherwise, like, we had like two cameras, like not the crazy ones, but just like the DJI ones, and yeah, it can go a really far way. And for me, I feel like it has just kind of added this layer to my artist project that I didn't have before, which I think the longer I keep going this, like the more I will add. And also it's been a lot of fun to do these things. You know, it's a very different business than just music, but it all ties in together. We also started selling our merch. That is the first time I really actually sold merch, because I used to just put it up on my Spotify thinking that like when they added the feature that people will actually go check it out and just add it. That rarely ever happened. I feel like to sell merch or something, you really need to, I think in person is really like, you want, in person makes the most sense, because like if people have a great night, getting a t-shirt or getting a hat or something like as a memory is like the perfect thing. And especially if you say it's limited to that event only, you can only get these shirts here. It's been really cool. Doesn't have to be that high thing. Like we did between 20 and 50 pieces, like pitch, and that's something that like you can safely put in a backpack, you know, put this, and if you don't have it, there's always some friends that will want some stuff in the end after the event as well.
Yeah, and also great for gifts for people who help you out at times. Like if you have a few left over, it's like, okay, you send these out to these people who helped you. That helps make an impression, and they become walking advertisements.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's kind of been like what I've been up to now this year, and like generally for my thing. And then for on the marketing side with our agency, there's been shifts, like just with Meta, making updates every month.
Yeah, we've been talking about this a lot. Of my 0.4 cents is that Meta is really probably more than any other year really flipped what they do in their back end. So what are you seeing there?
Meta keeps pushing more and more their AI algorithm, and they have the Andromeda update now, where apparently like you're not even supposed to put in, just throw all the creatives into one ad set and let Meta decide, which sounds great in theory. And we've tried it out multiple times, mainly for music, but also as a business promoting like a product or like an event or something. And we've seen it that in most cases it's not there yet. Like especially for music, still like having a few different separations between interest targeting and actually targeting different genres or artists. We've seen it still is the better way to do it. Yet what we do now is like on higher budget campaigns is we'll test out. Usually if we would have 5 different interest genres, for example, this time we'll now try out one of them being broad, so no interest at all, and having Facebook figured out, because sometimes it works pretty well, but just not enough that we do 100% in that. That's been basically the one change on the interest level. And otherwise it's what Meta is also pushing more and more is just it matters more and more testing different creatives and having like more variety in your campaigns. That's something that I talked about last year already, but even now I think it's really important just to be testing different like visual angles and stuff, because you don't know, like a song might be a sad song for somebody, might be a happy song for somebody, to somebody might be like a blue song, quote unquote, or a red one. And like it's really that match of visual and audio, like key in the first like 2-3 seconds of seeing that ad is like what makes somebody like stop scrolling and actually listen to the song.
Yeah, no, I had a really interesting one this year that I was doing a very big, like what I like to call design by committee project, where there's like 12 too many people in the room on a project. But what was interesting is somebody said, look, you got a lot of guys in this crowd in the beginning of this ad. I actually think this is more female-based music. So we A-B'd even the creative of showing more girls. Now, while the audience for this ad ended up being mostly conversions in the 80s of guys, they wanted to see hot girls at the beginning of the ad to bring them in.
Exactly. And like mostly like you find the stuff out after you test. Like it's very, very hard to be like predicting what like the best thing is.
No, I mean, we make very bad decisions when we assume everyone's like us because people are very diverse.
Totally. And yeah, speaking of creators, I think it's kind of what would lead me into, or what leads my head now into the next topic, which is like AI. I've talked in our community like all the time about it. I think it's pretty clear. I think everyone hates AI music, and we all want it to be regulated. Want the platforms or governments to really like make an impact, so us artists don't get completely washed away by Spotify's AI sort of artists and songs that they might roll out. But what I've been thinking about the last few weeks and had like more and more ideas with VO3 and everything coming out is to use AI to promote your music. And I think that's something that's ethically not as wrong potentially as like making it sound.
I think in general, if it's AI doing boring tasks so you can do more creative things, that's where I'm all for AI, is like getting it to reformat something so I don't have to format it 20 times. That's great for me.
Totally. And now like this, I've seen so many tools now where I'm probably gonna like go more into that, is on the ad creation part. I mean, there's so far from the last year or the years, what I've always been doing is just use stock footage platform like Pixels or Unsplash and use those. There's videos on Pinterest and people use those, but videos on Pinterest are usually like rip-offs from people's Instagram accounts. So I'd stay away from running those as ads.
So people understand this, that like there's Creative Commons licenses, there's free licenses, and the sites like Pixels and Unsplash are much more safe to use because you can't actually use people's work in your ads. That's depending on the country and region. There's even higher penalties and higher fines for things like that, or bans from platforms if you continually do it.
Yeah, you have to be careful. We have heard of people who, in most cases you won't actually end up getting like sued stuff, but like we've had people get into legal battles and have to take up the song or take on the cover art or take down things or like have to pay fines. So yeah, stay safe with that. And so it's been that, or videos that I have in my camera roll that I can kind of stitch together and make fit to this, which are also really good. I also always recommend using those because those also always feel personal and more authentic. If you have some clips of you and your friends in a summer trip and you can kind of piece them together to make it work to your track.
Even too, like one of the things I think is very interesting lately is like we see a lot of great response when people get like these cheaper cameras from back in the day and just even film other people's shows, but then they cut in the creative.
Exactly. That's a very good thing to do. And another thing we've been working on in the pension has now been ad packs. As we've been working with multiple different videographers around the world now, and kind of gave them our best performing ads, like the best stock footage stuff, the best camera roll stuff that we found, and told them to film stuff exactly like that, make it color graded in different ways. And we now have these ad packs where it come with like 100+ different clips of like people driving, running on the beach, like in different themes that can be stitched together to pretty much any genre to make it work with simple editing, or not even at all, because some of them are already like in sequences. That's one thing, and I've actually used it for my last release, and it's been pretty good. But I think another new feature would be like AI clips, because I think now the tools are really there where you can let your imagination really play. And back then I would always think of like the music video I would like to have for my track, but being independent, like making a music video with like crazy animations and effects is very hard. Now to create a 15-second visually appealing kind of animation or something, or even like a grandpa dancing like on the moon to your track, might be something that might actually work pretty well. It's something that I want to look into and try. I'll give an update, but I think we'll see more and more of that type of stuff. Already my feed is getting more and more full of like AI generated video. I hate it as well, but I think that's something that we should rise up into.
I saw largely with OpenAI's launch of their latest version of their video tool going social this week. It's like I saw 90% things that I was like, wow, this is really, really stupid. And 10% I was like, this is actually very creative and fun.
I've seen, like, at first I was just like, this is all like slop, like garbage kind of stuff. Whereas like kind of funny for like the first 2 days where you're out and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. That is like a monkey with a funny voice, like talking about X topic, whatever. I see now like AI artists like that do really cool visually appealing stuff and are able to like, create animations, visuals, stuff that I think back then would like require a really talented animator or something like that. And I think it's gonna open a lot of doors for musicians to kind of create visuals for their music, exactly tailored to how they have it in their mind, and just have it create that, which could also potentially be very powerful in promoting your track or to run ads.
So one of the things also, like, I think people get confused with is like there's AI and then there's automation. I know when we were talking earlier, you talked about doing a lot more automation. Can you talk to us about what that looks like?
Yeah, with being an independent artist, like what I think and with independent, we always preach is that like you need systems to make, like, as you said, the boring work easier for you, and you don't get caught up on doing stuff that really shouldn't be. And that's what we've now tried to do with Intelligent. Like a big pain in the ass now has been with meta ads and their updates is actually like duplicating all the ad sets, creating the whole structure campaign as we do, because now they always recommend you these AI features, like enhancements that either create like a zoom in or like a little audio behind the thing, but you usually don't want these, and you have to deselect them almost every time. And there's being sneaky about it as well. When you deselect them and you duplicate a campaign, sometimes they're selected again. So yeah, with Intelligent, what you can do is you just upload your ad creatives, and everything from there till like the optimization of your campaign will be done automatically. We'll automatically like analyze the different ad sets, the performance, and really front load the investment and optimize in the way that I did for my music and for all the others in the agency. And it also tells you like throughout the month or throughout the months of your year, like how your songs are performing compared to your ad spend. So you will actually get the insights of like how your money, like how far your money went, and if your song is maybe worth promoting again, or if that song that you just released might be worth cutting the budget because an older one might be growing a lot faster right now and be at a cheaper cost. So that's one tool, but there's lots of other tools that help you automate different processes.
One of the things I think people have gotten really excited over the years is like when I made my first video on making artist playlists and promoting through that, I made that 5 years ago. You came on, talked about it, people got very excited. I made another one this year where I updated my things. Have you seen any of that change? What are you seeing in that space of like using playlists for growth as a musician?
It's still viable. There's more tools now that let you completely like create playlists or find new songs and do that. But the whole process for me has been pretty similar still, like throughout the thing. I just have the ads promoting the playlist, and I'll go through the submissions and kind of update them through them like that. To be honest, like the tools that are out, I've personally like not tried too many of the new ones, and the old ones that I've used have kind of given me not the best results. Like if they add songs automatically, or if they put your songs into playlists automatically, it's never been like the most accurate thing in my opinion. And with playlists, it's really important to actually have songs that fit together, songs that fit to your song, and have your song put in playlists that actually fit to, because I think anything else kind of distracts the Spotify algorithm from who your actual listeners are.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. Like, I know I got a really big hint that like all the major labels now are just going into search terms like 16-year-old slumber party pop, and they're just making these because they know parents type them in. Or what's I think even more interesting is that that's what ChatGPT scrapes. So if whoever has the playlist, let's say that's like the thing ChatGPT recommends, that is daughter's sleepover 2025 pop music, that's going to get a lot of plays and extra plays for whatever artists are on it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm here to try that. We have tried like SEO campaign promotion, and definitely can work. The problem is it's like really more of a long-term game. It takes a while to
Yeah.
for the playlist until it's big enough for it to actually show up, and you're competing with big labels and stuff.
Yeah, it's works much better when you're a niche that they're never going to bother with. Like, it's a
Yeah.
funny thing of like, I tell a lot of artists, like when they're making like, let's call it Western themes for another world or something, and it's like, you know, they're doing something that some nerd's going to look up because they really like spaghetti westerns, let's say, and they're making modern versions of spaghetti westerns. That no major label has said they're like, we got to really get those spaghetti westerns popping off.
For sure. And actually, like, that reminds me of something that did actually work pretty well. Is what we did is, like, when songs blew up on TikTok that weren't out yet, like a remix or something, we create a Spotify playlist that's named after that song, or songs that are like that, titled and then like similar. And yeah, that's what people actually look up. They look for the song and then they'll check the playlist, look if it's either in the playlist or if there's just something similar to that song that they're craving right now. And in terms of SEO marketing, we've seen that actually work pretty well to get like the playlist like off the ground. Thing is, that's only viable for a certain amount of time till the song either loses its trend on TikTok or gets released, and then usually you have to come up with a new name, a new sort of kind of keep that going. And if it's different songs, you know, it might be a bit complicated. You really need to find songs in that genre that are getting traction on TikTok or on Instagram or something that aren't released yet to do that. So it's kind of more of a tedious thing, but yeah, if you can do SEO promotion right on playlist, then you don't even have to really push with ads as much. I've also talked to somebody who that's their main business, is like running playlists, and their label basically just runs on the playlist that they have, and whenever they release a track, it just goes on those playlists, and just through those they get enough streams to keep it running. And they've done SEO playlists, but yeah, that client has created those playlists, I think 8 years ago, and had those growing since then. So it's I wouldn't necessarily recommend just to put all my eggs on SEO thing if you're just starting out. It is still very to run ads to your playlist in the beginning, to get it off the ground. Also, for my playlist, I've seen my biggest one that's like at 30,000 followers. That really got more SEO traction or more results and streams without me spending more in ads after it got like 20,000 followers or something. So I think the biggest stage, that's really when you get ranked higher, and more people find you.
Yeah, it's very clear that they're ranking by people who follow. So, you know, I know everybody's always shocked when I talk about ads, but it's like a well-targeted ad or a really good idea. Like, you know, I had a friend of mine do some very interesting trend jacking where there's a movie that was announced really early that's kind of obscure, but everybody knew what the title was. And what they did is they put up score for that movie, and they put it up, and, you know, it had 6 followers when they looked. Then like they're like, why am I getting this huge boost all of a sudden? And then as people started talking about this movie coming out, they had it there way before the soundtrack ever had it out, and they trend jacked, and everybody was listening to their fake version of the soundtrack.
Yeah. No, I mean, timing and stuff is like key when it comes to that as well.
So I know we've talked a lot about ads. We've talked a lot about tools. How about social media? I know like when we first talked, you were like, not like, oh, I'm going in on TikTok or anything. Has anything changed there? Where you see social media now?
For myself personally, it's still kind of been the same, you know, since my focus has been on stuff. But with the artists we work with and the ones that also do social media well, you know, that's, I think, where that's really our goal is, when you can promote sustainably but then also have like organic content to push you out. That's the best. And I think there it's generally also become harder to like make something to really stand out, and I think the solution for that is really to create more of a storytelling thing about your artist project itself and tell stories about your music specifically. I think more and more artists are posting on social media about stuff that's not so much related to the music. Like, it's always been important to branch out and show that you have other hobbies and other interests and show your stories. And I think if you can do that and tie in your music and your creation of music and just show people that you're constantly making music, that's the best thing. Like, if you're constantly teasing stuff, if you're constantly showing yourself in a video, even if it's like a very, very simple story of you creating something or posting a reel, like it goes so far when people see and ads and see that you like they see your ad and they click on your profile and they see that you're actually active, it actually makes the whole thing a lot more effective and more people actually follow you. And then as you have that, yeah, your general engagement on each story or on each post gets better, and then you'll actually reach more people. I think what's been annoying, not just musicians, but generally content creators all over, is that your followers don't matter that much anymore. And even though you might have a followers and stuff, like most of them don't actually see your posts anymore. That's something that I actually like
Yep.
got annoyed by a lot, because I have really, really close friends of mine who told me like, hey, I haven't seen you post anything in months. And it's just because some of my posts like get a lot more less engagement now than they did 3 years ago, even though I had less followers. It is important to keep consistent. The Instagram algorithm is similar to any other algorithm. Like it favors people who post a variety of different posts consistently. That's something just that kind of benefits and builds on top of your art profile.
It's very interesting too that like I think people forget that, like, you know, when you see you have 20,000 followers, it's like, well, that 20,000 does not mean that those people come on every day, scroll enough to see things, haven't started scrolling on something different for a while. And like, yes, they may get your biggest posts, they may get your best performing posts, but also what you said there is like, you know, a lot of why I've preached the consistent sustained promotion thing forever is that people don't find it exciting to say, hey, this person kind of takes music seriously. They post once every 2 months when they put out a song. They say, hey, this person's really seems like they're going to blow up. I'm on it early. That seems very exciting to people, which is why keeping up with your profile matters.
That the artists that like seem to blow up, like you can really kind of tell by how much they're posting
Yep.
when you follow them. And it's really, the more often you open a story from that artist compared to other people, the more Instagram is going to favor your story to be further up, for your reel to actually show up in their feed. And yeah, as you said, like the followers not only have to like come online every day, but actually scroll far enough to see your stuff. Most people don't even use all the features. I know a lot of people that open Instagram and they just check the stories and that's it, or they just go on Reels and that's it.
I rarely use Reels, but I read TikTok all the time. But funny, I can't. It's probably been months since I looked at a TikTok story.
Yeah, for example, yeah. But it's personal. It's very personal. Some people will only do that. And so I think it's become hard in that sense that you need to juggle the different formats more and be able to push out something that fits to each of those things. Generally, like
Yeah,
less overproduction is better. Like just keeping things simple, like going back to the systems and stuff, figuring out some sort of format that works for you, that you can replicate pretty easily, something that fits to your music and stuff, that's not so overcomplicated. And then kind of figure out a set of stuff for your stories and stuff, and figure out a plan on like, hey, twice a week I'm gonna post an unreleased track or something of me in the studio. Once a month I'm gonna like do my pre-promotion for my track. Once a month I'm gonna tell a random story about that's nothing to do with my music. Yeah, if you can create that thing that can really, really help you out and make it easy on the organic side of your music marketing.
love it. Nico, I'm going to put links down in the description for everybody to find you where you are. Before we run, is there anything else you'd like to say to the crowd?
No, I just want to thank you, Jesse, for letting me on again. And the feedback on the last podcast was very, very nice to see and read through. So yeah, very, very grateful for all the positivity. And I think generally, like, it's great that we can come on and share value with each other and just like talk about the new features and kind of share with independent artists as many new methods and tools to promote the music as possible.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Gladly.